Hello, I am Simon.
And I'm Peanut from Kaiser Chiefs.
And you're listening to Morgan Richards
on Radio Cardiff.
Hey, I'm Morgan Richards from Radio Cardiff, 98.7 FM, and I'm very pleased to say that I'm backstage at the Swalek Stadium here. I'm joined by a band who have stayed together, never missing a beat over the last decade and a half. It's, of course, the lovely Kaiser Chiefs.
Good afternoon.
Hey guys, you right?
Hello, yeah, good, thank you very much. That's a very nice introduction.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, how's things?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. We're here on a kind of slightly overcast day here in Cardiff. But yeah, we came from a Newmarket racecourse last night. And yeah, ready for the show tonight. It's kind of it's nice to get to sort of summer festival times. Every weekend is just a different place, either UK or the Europe. It's kind of interesting. You get to sort of just dip in and out of cities and places around Europe. So yeah, we're ready for it.
So guys, of course, a hell of a lot has changed since you first broke big into the industry in the early 2000s, mixing up your music and almost how people see you as a band along the way. Do you feel you've continued to adapt with that and become a slightly different version of Kaiser Chiefs than what you intended to be in your youth and finding your feet as you've matured?
Sure, I think we have changed quite a lot. I think it's been quite natural though. I think obviously we've just sort of gone as we've gone. So I think there's like some examples. So this album I think sounds different, totally different to the first album. But I just think we just adapt with the times. Yeah, there's lots of things have changed since we started. So digital music and streaming, and even like stuff like Twitter and all sorts of things that we just think are totally standard now didn't exist at all when we were starting out. So we just had to adapt. But I think not that much adaptation, because I think good songs is the main thing. Yeah. So as long as you've got good songs, I think everything else sort of will work itself out really, and good gigs as well. I think performing good gigs. But then musically, I think we've done some different stuff. Like the fourth album, we sort of did people could choose their own, and I think that was a little bit like, I don't think it was forward thinking, because I think it was already apparent that was the way things were going. But I think it was just us trying to say we're not resisting like modern technology. Do you know what I mean? Like I think some bands will sort of stick their feet in the sand and just sort of be like they're only going to release it on vinyl, on double gatefold vinyl or something, which is nice. And I still want our album. I think the new album is definitely coming out on vinyl still, but you have to just embrace how people listen to music or consume music, or how they what they come and do. Like I even think like shows like today, here we are at the cricket ground. Obviously these kind of things existed I think before, but the main thing we did when we first started was we do big festivals like Reading Festival or or all over Europe. Just find nowadays that those festivals, there's a lot more things where it's like dual. So yesterday we did a thing where we played at the horse racing, and there's like Festival and Car Fest and all these other festivals where I think there's got to be like another aspect as well as the music. So I think that's just life, isn't it? Things change and you have to adapt.
Yeah. And musically, you originally came from really this hardcore indie rock background and slightly shined away from that since the more pop rock version. Has that just been a natural progression over the years and intentionally trying to break away?
I think that comes. There's no rules about being in a band. That's the thing that we've learned over the time. So yeah, we start out kind of in a rehearsal room in Leeds, playing small gigs, trying to get the local support, whatever the big band that comes to town, trying to get support gig, that sort of thing. And you kind of, you hone your craft there, and this sound is born in the rehearsal room. But then you go to record your album, and it changes a little bit. And then you tour the album, and you realise, oh right, this is what we've got to do to kind of keep the crowds going, and like you sort of perform the songs differently to how they are on the record a little bit. And so yeah, I always find it's down to other people to classify us, I don't really care, and we don't really care, because that's music and art, and the creative industry is about just evolving and being being something. You can't be something to everyone, like the same thing to everybody. Everyone has their own little opinion of what they think you are, and that's cool, because that's about kind of owning your music, isn't it? I see you have a band t-shirt on and stuff like that. People have, and nobody's got the same selection of band t-shirts in their drawer. Everyone's got different ones. So it's kind of so where we get to now with the new album, it's kind of like, well, let's try something new, and I think we do try that on each album. But sometimes you can group a few of them together and go, yeah, they were kind of similar in a similar time, similar time for music, and you realise actually just try something new all the time, because when it works, everyone goes, "Oh, that's brilliant! That well done for doing that," you know. And if you just tread the same water, we would not happen if you do that. And so we kind of just we're where we are now. It's not a final destination, and it's not where we started out. It's just another step on the journey.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's all about even from the very beginning. No, not the very beginning. We sort of wanted to compete with bands in Leeds, but quite soon in like when we maybe released Employment, I think because we got quite big quite quickly, we wanted to compete with all the big artists. So in 2005, we wanted to be number one above, like, I don't know, Girls Aloud and Kanye and whoever else. So it was, and it's still the same now, do you know what I mean? So I think there's like, even, it's not really about what type of music we are. I think we just always want to compete at the sort of, with everyone basically, not just with the indie bands. We don't want to be the biggest indie band in the world. We want to be the biggest band ever, or the biggest actor. We want to, you know, compete on that scale, rather than like just, what's the word, limit ourselves to being a big indie band. I also think as well, there's another thing about when we first started, so you had this thing where we would be supporting, I remember there's one particular gig where I supported Block Party in London, and the crowd are there for someone else, and you've got to grab their attention. So some of those songs on the first album, I think some of the reasons, or one of the reasons they're so popular, is because we were trying to write songs that people would instantly get, and had hooks that we knew people who'd never heard the songs would remember when they went away, or would sing straight away, or whatever. I think on this album again, we sort of, you know, I don't think we didn't write it down, but I think that's what we did in the end. Is like, for the singles at least, it's sort of working. And when we've been playing them live, we wanted to do things that straight away, even if you never heard the song before, you can sing it and you know the words. It's not over complicated, do you know what I mean? It's like songs like There's a Hole in My Soul, you know, stuff like that, or The Parachute. I only got one parachute, and that one. It's like the simple ideas that people can like grasp straight away. Whereas I think sometimes in our career and other people's careers, you sort of get, you know, quite complex, you know, ideas in there, and then it's not so easy for people to get it first time.
And of course, you've just recently been in the studio putting the finishing touches towards your new 6th studio album, Stay Together, set for release on October the 7th, with a large portion co-written as well as produced by Brian Higgins. How did the idea of working with him and being open to co-writing really come about?
So I'd say we started songwriting for this album during, I don't know, say a couple of years ago, well, while we were still touring the last album, and we had some ideas. We went to various places and did some weeks of songwriting, and we had quite a few songs and stuff, but I think they were a bit directionless. And I remember we had a bit of a chat one day, and I was sort of saying, the album before this, or all the albums which have been really good by us, there's been a motivating thing, whether it's been like the first album was to sort of, you know, get a record deal or whatever. The last album thing was to sort of maybe prove a few people wrong, and, you know, keep going on our 5th album and be a band for 10 years and everything. We were like, be a gang and all that. And then this album, it just felt like, because the last album was #1 and successful, and we'd done lots of nice gigs and done lots of touring, that there wasn't really a desire other than our manager and people like that were saying, hey, you should make a record. So it was about working out what that was. And so we met Brian, and he was very inspiring, because he's the kind of guy that tells you you're brilliant the whole time, which is great. Always nice to hear. And just doing something totally different, which was, so we scrapped everything that we'd done before, and started again with, and co-write with someone else, or in the room the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like something we'd never done before, and we just thought we'd give it a go, basically. And then we did a few songs. It sounded good, so then we just continued. And it was very interesting. Learned lots about ourselves and about him, and about, you know, it was...
And guys, just a couple more very quick things now before you go. Of course, in recent years, with Ricky having had a hectic schedule of his own with TV work and other commitments, has it been almost refreshing now for him to step away from that again and drive full focus into the band?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, we had it, yeah, Elsie's been on your screens for a lot of time in the last year. And yeah, now we're back on tour, you know, we're building up sort of this summer, building up towards the record coming out. And it's kind of like, yeah, this is what we do, you know. So it's kind of I think he's learned a lot from his TV stuff, and kind of, and particularly from the voice in particular, about about singing stuff. And Ricky, it's kind of weird, like, because on this new record, his voice has kind of definitely developed, and with like 5 albums in, you sometimes think, well, maybe you've done most of your development already, and you kind of got to where you are. And he's definitely found like a new area, like a new tone for his voice, and the way he sings and the way he sort of projects. So it's good to have it. Yeah, it's good to have him back, and we're on the road, and now it's to share a dressing room, which I don't think he likes that anymore. But he can lump that. That's fine.
Okay, well, fantastic. And one thing I have to mention to you guys is that, of course, last year you guys did a lot of dates supporting Foo Fighters across Europe and South America, where a video emerged of Dave Grohl coming into a dressing room to motivate you as really before your encore. I'm sure that was quite surreal after all these years, having something like that, with it being a band you really grew up listening to.
It's funny that, because I think we had this idea where it'd be good to get somebody to like give us a team talk, you know what I mean? And then it sort of turned into sort of like a maybe they shout at us a bit and tell us to, like an angry football, like a.
I think who's the whole manager?
The guy.
What's his name?
Phil Brown got on the pitch.
Yeah, got on the pitch, told him all off on the pitch.
And we just thought it'd be quite funny, and I think we like to still be, don't take ourselves too seriously. So then we were on tour with Dave, and so we asked him, "Oh, would you want to do this thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, do that." So then one day we did it, but then it was a bit too much, a bit too real.
He was good. I mean, he's a good. Yeah, you've seen the video, Foo Fighters videos. He's a good actor, right? He is good, and he definitely. And he, and kind of we sat there thinking, because we had, he's a very busy man. Everyone wants his time, and so we had like 10 minutes. That was all we sort of had to do it, and it was kind of like, so you couldn't really direct him very much, and it was kind of like. Hang on, Dave. Yeah, calm down a bit. But it was brilliant, because we used it in our arena shows. Like we went back from that tour straight to our arena tour in the UK last year, and the crowd loved it. It was brilliant. They got big cheers when you realised who it was, when the camera sort of revealed and you could see it was Dave. It was like, big cheers.
Okay. Well, that's about it. Cheers, guys, for taking time out to have a quick chat with us.
Pleasure.
Best luck now with everything in the near future, and hoping to catch up with you guys again very soon.
Nice one. Yeah, hope so.
Cheers.
The Elk. Only Marsh, I know.